right, today we're going to be talking about several different watercolor techniques. This is what you're going to be making. You're going to need your circle stencil. You are going to need to get your circle stencil, and you're looking at the 60 millimeter size circle. It is the second largest circle. You're going to make 8 of these on your paper with space below them. So you will be able to label them the different techniques that we're going to be trying today. It will be really helpful for you to learn these so that you can do them on our art-tac-toe projects for the rest of the year. Or if you're in here for a trimester, for the rest of the trimester. I want to make sure you have lots of fun techniques underneath your belt and ready to go. Okay. When we're talking about watercolor, here is this here. It looks great. We are going to, sorry, I know say when we're talking about watercolor, that was my bad. We're going to label this. The first one is going to be dots, D-O-T-S. The next one is going to be drawing, D-R-A-W-I-N-G. The third is splatter, S-P-L-A-T-T-E-R. The fourth is wet on wet. The fifth is going to be light to dark, or the French term is ombre, O-M-B-R-E with an accent. It means to change from one color to the next. The next one is blend as you go, B-L-E-N-D, as you go. The fourth is going to be labeled salt cool. And the fourth, oh my goodness, that was a seventh. The eighth is going to be labeled salt warm. It's been a day. So these are what you're going to be doing. Now, it may not make sense until I actually show you how it's going to work. You have your watercolors. You are going to take your paintbrush with your water, and to activate your colors, you're going to add 1 drop of water to each of the colors. Only 1 drop. You don't need a whole lot. We want to make sure that we're not overdoing this. If you're drowning your colors, then you are unable to actually get the lifespan out of your paint that you would like to have. So please make sure that you are only adding 1 drop, unless I specify differently, to it so that we can have lasting watercolors to last the year. We also want to make sure that we're cleaning things off. If we have a color and we want to switch, so we don't want to have our purple going into our yellow. So if we have yellow, I used it, pretend I used it. I'm going to clean it off over here, rinse my thing off, and then go into my next color so that I don't transfer the color back and forth between them. Now, what we're looking at for our very first section up here, which is the dots, we want to have a really pale colored watercolor. Any color you want that makes your little heart happy, that's fine. You're going to take your paintbrush, load it up with water, do 1 drag across the side, take your color, put it on there. Now, this is still pretty dark, so I am going to wipe off my paint, get my water, come back in with water on it, and then I can make it lighter. This will allow me to make it lighter and doesn't waste any paint. I don't know what I was saying, but it makes it work real well. We got this here. Now, there's a way to clean things off. So I see I have a puddle of water here that I may not want. I can go over, clean my paintbrush, dry it off on my paper towel, then use my paintbrush to mop up some of the color. That is one way to get rid of pools of water. The other way is dabbing with your napkin. This way works really nicely. So we're going to wait for this to dry before we're able to do the next step with it. So we're going to pick out our next color. So again, My paintbrush goes in, drag it along the side. We're going to load up. I got just the right amount there. Gonna layer it on. I'm gonna go with lighter layers here at first, just so that we can practice how things look, and so it looks darker when we get there. By using lots of water with my red here, I could actually draw over this and have that red full colored show up really vibrantly across my paper. So next one, and again, we're going to wait for it to dry partially. The magic with this one is when it is drying part of the way and still wet a little bit. So you want it kind of both ways. Splatter, we're going to do this lovely green. Fill it in. This is a nice yellow green. If you're wondering, it's usually between the yellow and the green. But it is the lightest green on your cool color palette that we have set up in the classroom right now. So there we go. There's my splatter. Okay. Because I need these to dry a little bit more, we're actually going to continue on talking about how to get some of these other techniques. Now, one of the things that we want to do is a wet on wet. Wet on wet is where you load your paintbrush up with water, and then you place that water on the circle, on the paper. So you're drawing it there. You can see how I have a little puddle there. You see a little glare a little bit. You want to make sure that you're filling up this whole area with water. Once I have this filled up with water and it's wet, you can look at it from an angle. I'm going to go and get a color and just drop it on there. Not paint, drop. I want it to drop so that it's spreading out. That's the point of having it like this, a wet on wet. The colors blend and do some really cool magic. It looks awesome when you're done and it dries all the way. But you want to make sure that you are just dropping it, not actually running your paintbrush over the paper. So I'm going to add some dots there. So there's that. Now, right now, my drawing one, this section over here is still pretty wet, whereas this section right up here is dry. So this gives me an opportunity to kind of show you what it looks like when we go in and do some drawing onto a wetter area. So I'm going to pull up some purple. I don't have a whole lot on my brush. And I'm going to actually draw a circle in the area that's wet and dry. As you can see here, my area that's dry, the line is firm. My area that's wet, it kind of spread. I'm going to draw another one because why not? Make it look awesome. That one's very light. And then I'm going to leave that for later. My splatter is also at that point where I could add something to it to make it look a little bit different. I'm going to choose my turquoise here. To get splatter ready, I load my paintbrush up with water and add it in here so I have a nice, very liquidy amount of paint on there. I am then going to take my paintbrush and tap it over it. Note, I got some in there, that's okay. This area that's wet, it really spreads. The area that it's not, you have distinct splatters. It's really great for your projects, looks cool, really fun to use. Try not to make a huge mess, and when you're splattering, you need to be very careful of your neighbors because they probably don't want your splatters on their paint. So, down here, the light to dark. So we, at the beginning there here, put paint into, put water into our watercolors to let it activate. The pigment is getting nice and strong. So I can take my paintbrush, drag it on the side here, and load it up with what I hope is some fairly pigmented paint. So pigmented means dark, rich. There, that's a nice dark color. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off my paintbrush, load it up with water, take my water and I'm painting over here to make it blend in. If I want to go lighter, I add more water and let it just blend out to that side. This gives me that beautiful light to dark look that we're going for with the Georgia O'Keeffe landscape from your Art Tacto. Awesome technique, works really great. The blend as you go. The blend as you go is one of my favorites. I just make sure to work fairly quickly, but at the same time, I am also making sure that I am going and cleaning off my paintbrush each time I'm going into my paint. So I'm going to pull up some paint here, clean it off, make sure it's ready to go, blend it together. See how they kind of blend together? We're going there, blending it, making it look awesome, adding other colors. This gives you the ability to kind of blend your colors and see what you got going on, making it just slightly different from what you've had before. Gives you different effects, but you again want to try and work fairly quickly so that you can add in all the colors that you need and you're working it all together. I don't know if I'm digging my colors here, but I'm good with it for now. This gives me my wide variety of colors in that one area. When we are going to be doing things like the salt cool, your palettes are divided into cool and warm colors. You're only going to do cool colors over here on the salt cool. Again, blending, doing the blend as you go idea so that you're able to just kind of come in here, get the colors you want. You want to make sure that you are staying with the cool colors. We are not going into the other colors. We want to make sure they stay in the cool colors. Because if we don't, then we're not going to see the effect of how the salt looks when it's on a cool color versus what it looks like when it's on a warm color. We want to see the differences. And then make sure I have no white. Now that's there, salt only works if your paint is wet. So here's our beautiful little salt shakers. You don't need to dump it in your hand. You just go tip, tip. There we go. I have salt. I wound up with salt over here too. Oh well, it'll still look awesome. Now, the thing is once I have my salt on there, I can no longer mess around with that. So make sure you're ready to put it on. So I'm going to get my warm color one. Make it all awesome. See how it goes, right? We are using just the variety of colors that we have here. Having fun, playing with it, seeing what it looks like, knowing that whatever we're doing is going to come out uniquely. So I have not as much striking colors in there as I would like, but that's okay. I'm going to go back in and add a little bit of the dark pink. Now that I have that, again, I'm going to go and just gently shake some on, and we have our salt warm. As you can see here, we have some that are dried more. So I'm going to do a little bit more of my splatter because I think it'll look good. So again, loading up my paintbrush, gently tapping. That's the thing with splatter. You got to make sure it doesn't try and go everywhere. But I added more to it. I like that. My dots. My dots are where I am just going to be loading up my paintbrush with a color. And I did purple, I believe, here. So if I do purple and I just do purple dots, that's all it is. That's dots. When it dries, it has a really cool effect. I can pick other colors to do. It just depends on what makes my little heart happy. You do what makes your heart happy, not what makes somebody else's, because it's going to be your artwork. That's important. So making sure that you like what you're creating. Sometimes we have a hard time liking what we create because we're so critical of ourselves. I'm going to try not to do that. Try and accept that we're learning, always learning, and create some pretty cool things. So now I'm going to actually do a couple more drawing circles on here. I have my paintbrush. It's not heavy on the water. And so I'll go in here and pick up color. You can see it on there a little bit. And I'm going to draw some more circles. I like circles. You don't have to like circles. See that one side over there is still very wet. So I can kind of, I'm going to go over that one a couple times just to see how I can get bigger. You can do just about any pattern you want. It's up to you. You are your own creative genius. That is how to use some watercolors. Just a really quick demonstration, get you a little practice. Thank you.